Hey everyone, I'm Nick Martin, and I've been working on SaaSTrialFlow for the last couple of weeks. I want to just give a quick overview of what this app does. The main goal with SaaSTrialFlow is to automate all of your trial users. If you're a SaaS company, you have trial users. We're using AI agents to automate the follow-up with trial users and to get them through the 4 main stages of kind of every trial. This is the dashboard. We do have a setup wizard. This just takes a little bit of your company information. We use this in our prompts. We have conversations panel. This is where you'll be able to see all the conversations that your AI agents are having with your trial users. So if we just open up this one here, you'll be able to see this trial, which is a test, obviously. This was the last message that was sent. This is what the agent has sent. And you can kind of get a feel of the entire conversation. Later in development, if everything goes well, we will have buttons here so you can grade and give feedback to the agent if it does something well or does something bad. Give it feedback and train it that way. You can take over manual control if you need. So those are the conversations. And then for the trial pipeline, this is kind of your overview as well. 4 stages: registration, activation, adoption, commitment. You'll just be able to get an overview of the pipeline. And then we can dive into the stages. There's an overview. And this is just currently a little bit messy, but here's where you can get an overview of the different stages. There's a specific agent for each stage. Every trial user will have their own agent. So when a user moves from one stage to the other, the next agent is activated and follows up. We can configure these. Now, this is really important. So this is very similar to how Mixpanel and Intercom work. So for each stage, you as the SaaS company, you'll be able to say, well, we have these 3 events or 2 events or whatever. They're really important. And in my example here, we have email verified. So user registered is the initial event that's always sent when a trial user is created. And then we have, in my company, profile completed. These are a couple of questions, and then email verified. So these events are things that SaaSTrialFlow will need to listen for, and your SaaS will have to send those events over to SaaSTrialFlow. So I won't go into all the technical details of that. We have developed an SDK, so it's pretty easy to get this done. What you can also do is you can add context to the models or the agents so that you can tell them right after new trial registers, they see a lock screen where there are a couple of questions, what they need to do. And you can also give it information on how that they can complete this event. So yes, you can configure each event, and that's the whole goal of SaaSTrialFlow, is that you as a SaaS company, you can configure your 4 stages with the required events. You can also do optional events, but that's what we will look for, and you can configure all these different stages. And once they're configured, in order to implement it, we have this export feature where you'd be able to export this and share it with your developer so that they can install the SDK and send these event triggers when they happen in your app. So that's all about stages. Then we have the AI agents. There's an overview, which just kind of gives an overview of the agents, what they're doing. This is not currently showing correct data, but you can configure agents. This will be redesigned. It's not really great, but you'll be able to configure agents. And then we have an activity log. So this is really key in debugging and testing. So for each decision that the agents make, you'll be able to see them here, and you'll be able to kind of get a more in-depth idea of why this decision was made. So there are a lot of rules behind the scene. Happy to go into them in more detail in a different video, or if you have any questions, but lots of rules and the priority hierarchy that agents go through. Here's where you'll be able to see and tweak if something is weird. We have an analytics section where there's some data in here, and then there's a bunch of data below where, there's coming soon. This is like what we could expect to have come later stages. Integrations, we have nothing there at the moment. This is all just mock data, but SaaSTrialFlow actually kind of acts as a middleware. So you can plug it in between your different apps into your existing processes, and it'll just kind of work. And then we have settings where you have your profile. Email configuration, this is worth mentioning because as a client or user of SaaSTrialFlow, you'll be able to brand everything outbound emails with your own domain. We use subdomains, and you can use your own third-party transactional email provider. Just set up the domain and subdomain configuration, do the SMTP for outbound, and then we have a DNS setup for inbound. This is a quick overview of the system. It is ready to be tested, and used. So I'm looking for a couple of SaaS companies that would be willing and interested to invest some time and energy into testing and seeing if it's something that they would love to use. It would be free for life for the first couple of companies. Eventually we will add so that you have to add your own API keys for the models, but you'll get the system and the software free for life if you're interested in getting on board early on, as it is right now, to test and give feedback. I would really love that. That would be super cool and super awesome. I hope this gives a general overview of what SaaSTrialFlow is and can do. Would love your feedback. Let me know if you think this is terrible. Let me know if you think this has potential. Let me know if you think this is brilliant and would be something that you'd like to use. Hit me up in the comments, send me a message, and I look forward to hearing from you. So thanks for checking it out, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.